I'm going to read this very, very long article because, quite honestly, it needs to be told. Why are Republicans so bad at lying? They lie so much, shouldn't they be better at it? A spokesperson for Fox News recently called a charge that former Fox personality and MAGA cheerleader Tucker Carlson created a hostile workplace unmeritorious, quoting her. Abby Grossberg, a former Fox head booker for a show, recently sued Fox News, charging that Carlson promoted a hostile workplace where he and his producers routinely said sexist things about women, including guests, and making anti-Semitic jokes. Grossberg has also sued the company for coercing her to provide inaccurate testimony in the Dominion voting systems lawsuit against Fox News. It's hard to believe anyone would doubt that Tucker Carlson could be that guy, since without any discernible talent, a limited palette of facial expressions, and an unnerving laugh, seemingly molded on various older character actresses in screwball comedies, he made himself of one of the most successful shillers of fear and hate in the history of the country. There are many things to wonder about the far right in this country, such as why are they afraid of history and science, why they say they hate tyranny and yet want to control other people's personal choices and keep them from voting, and why they think religious freedom is their freedom to force their religious beliefs on the rest of us. Oh wait, I just answered my own question. Tucker Carlson's text, Fox News can't be surprised, but they may still be scared. But given that they lie so much about the Constitution, about their political opponents, about what it means to be a patriotic American, one would think at least they'd be good at it. When I heard that unmeritorious in a report about the lawsuit naming Carlson, I laughed out loud. Well, when they use a $20 word like that, he must be innocent. The viewers of Fox and One American News Network and Newsmax want to imagine that they're being told the truth, while also knowing somewhere in their lizard brains that they're in on a big lie. When a person is lying, it's nearly impossible to be simple, to be forthright. A liar just has an overwhelming need to gussy it up. Thus, you're not innocent. You are completely innocent or absolutely innocent. A charge against you isn't merely false, it's totally false or completely bogus or some such from the liar's well-thumbed dictionary. If you're a certain cult leader, you're not just absolutely innocent of the many serious charges brought against you. It's a political witch hunt, a massive fraud, a conspiracy, not against you, but against your followers. They're after you. They're all after you. I'm just in the way. Hey, the most innocent and beloved president in the history of the world will have vengeance against the enemies. I am your retribution. In this case, a false profession of innocence invariably includes the liberal use of all caps and deranged spelling. And yeah, I am talking about Truth Social, and I am talking about Donald Trump and all that other shit. Anyway. And the word frankly, if you hear someone open with that, you can pretty much expect a whopper or a manipulation on a level as everyone knows. Though often attributed to Mark Twain, apparently Jonathan Swift was the first to say that clever bit about a lie running quickly into the world while the truth limps after, too late to have an effect. So the lie, coming fast, sticks into the people's minds. the primacy effect we may or may not have learned about in school, depending on when it was brought up. And the truth, coming later, is ignored or forgotten, like a correction at the bottom of the page of B7 at your local newspaper. And propagandists take advantage of this effect, which journalists must learn to counter. But what if we could help people immediately see when a profession of truthlessness is unworthy, when they should prick up their ears? Shakespeare's "The lady protests too much, methinks," can't be beaten, except maybe for that methinks which people tend to place first, and wasn't a doth involved, but perhaps something a bit more in line with Swift, whose very name makes it easy to remember. He came up with the lines about a lie being fast runner. How about empathetic or ornate? Your protest of innocence stumbles out of the gate. Okay, that's a bit fussy. I'll work on it. Should we not be pointing this out to them, the liars, that we see through them, that they frankly say far too much? I think it doesn't matter. They know they not to profess too much, but being totally and absolutely guilty or completely and horrifyingly conscious of supporting a guilty party, you can liken it to pose imp of perverse, doing something for the very reason you know you should not. Others, including Salon.com's Amanda Mandacore, would say that the lies are spewed out in order to placate the ravenous desire for comforting the untruths that viewers of Fox News and other far right-wing media demand in order to live in their own reality and own the libs. As Mandacore writes, and I quote, "The major driver of Fox News conspiracy content is viewer demand that the network air the lies that they're hearing on social media," unquote. So, the viewers of Fox and ONN and Newsmax want to imagine that they're being told the truth while also knowing, somewhere in their lizard brains, that they're in on a big lie, worth telling and believing in for the good of the country. Donald Trump's defense attorney in a rape trial may have accidentally revealed the motive. So wait a minute, maybe the Republicans are good at lying, at least in the way that their followers most enjoy, with a wink and a nod. As Salon's Heather Digby Patton wrote recently, many Trump supporters well understand that he's a liar, but they're comforted by that. Quoting her, "They admire him for refusing to acknowledge the facts and have willingly joined him in bending the truth to fit their desires," unquote. In real life, people who may not be telling us the truth often exhibit other tells, physical and vocal, about their obfuscations, as skillfully depicted in Matt Damon's SNL satire of Brett Kavanaugh's acting out on his confirmation hearing, after Christine Baisley Ford's compelling testimony, yet another thing a certain someone has lied to us about. But beyond the telltale sniffing and water gulping, there remains a basic inability not to overstate your innocence. Let me tell you this, I'm going to start at 11. I'm going to take it to 15 real quick. And now, also live from New York, we have a more court testimony about the actions of one Donald John Trump, this time in the defamation and battery case brought against him by writer and former LA Magazine advice columnist E. Jean Carroll, who says Trump raped her and the Bedford Goldman department store in the late 1995 or early 1996. As a side note, the timeline of Trump's best-known affairs may be of interest here. His affair with Melania Marples began sometime in the months after Ivana gave birth to Eric in January of '84. Stormy Daniels says she began to see Trump in 2006, soon after Melania gave birth to Barron. Trump's disgust with women's bodily functions like menstruation or pumping breast milk is well known. He told Howard Stern that pregnant Melania was like a blimp and a monster before catching himself and adding in all the right ways. Should we not be pointing this out to them? The liars that we see through them, that they frankly say far too much? Marples gave birth to Tiffany in December of '93. And while there's no record of a Trump affair at that time, in late '96, Marla was found to be in a tryst with Trump's bodyguard, Spencer Wagner. Trump allegedly asked Carol, who we now know looked a lot like Marples, even to Trump himself, to help him pick out a gift at Manhattan's premier department store sometime in that late '95 or '96 period, when there was obviously serious issues in the Trump-Marples marriage. Ridiculous speculation? Maybe so. But as Salon.com's Amanda Metacore notes, Trump's lawyers may have just revealed the motive for the attack. Carol teased him about lingerie, and he became enraged and imagined that she was laughing at his masculinity. Rape is about control, not sexual desire. And what if the person laughing at him also looked very much like the wife who had strayed? But let me utilize Trumpian locale here. I'm not saying that he's guilty of raping E. Jean Carroll, a woman he said looked just like the wife who had recently betrayed him, serving him a measure of his own kind of unfaithfulness. But I think everyone knows the truth about this case and all the others. Oh, Trump's reaction to this rape charge, among other things, he called it ridiculous, a hoax, a complete con job, a complete scam. He said, as he said with some of the women who have claimed with great specificity that he sexually assaulted them, that E. Jean Carroll is, quoting him, not my type. She's not my type. She's not my first choice, that I could tell you. Now we definitely know that she was precisely his type. And from that response, typical for him, one must assume that he has had, over the decades, a go-to type for sexual assault. But nowhere can I find a statement where he simply says, it isn't true, and leaves it at that. Now, I know this article went off the rails. We were talking about the lies that Republicans want to tell themselves and Republicans want to tell the American people. But it's the lies that people believe that make them the most dangerous. We can see through the lies that Fox News, that Donald Trump and so many others in this country on the right wing have been telling us, and we can do that with with good research and common sense. And we can also see through the lies of Donald Trump in this particular case of E. Jean Carroll. Donald Trump has never said, it's not me, I've never done this. It's not my fault, I never did anything like this. He says it's a con job, or comes up with the sickest excuses. She's not my first choice. She's not my type. Well, who exactly would be your type, Trump? We already know what your type is. Any woman who has a pulse, Any woman that you can have sex with and pay off. Well, that has come to an end. We see through the lies of the Republican Party, and we see through the lies of Donald John Trump. And if people are not smart enough or intelligent enough to look past those types of lies, then there is no hope for any of them. CTP Know The Truth. God bless. Peace to the left, justice to the right.